In this episode, I had the opportunity to speak with celebrity trainer Gunnar Peterson. We talk fitness for this one. Gunnar explains his journey with how he got into fitness in the first place, his experience as a director of strength and conditioning for the Los Angeles Lakers, how he trains his athletes in season versus off season, and so many different other points. We discuss things like mindset, stress management, client goals, training movements versus the muscle. Hope you guys enjoy this one.
The Prehab audio experience will teach you how to take control of your health through knowledge by optimizing performance, promoting longevity, and keeping your movement system in tune. Welcome to your host, the Prehab Guys.
Today I have Gunnar Peterson. I think this poster here says it best. Meet the man who shapes celebrities. I know you've trained A-list celebrities like Jennifer Lopez, The Rock. Now you're with the LA Lakers as well. Basically celebrities and athletes.
You should clarify, I never trained The Rock, just so you know. Dwayne's been here and trained, but I've never trained him. He does his own thing, and I always keep that very clear with people. I never take credit for that. That's a self-made man all day long.
Yeah. He's a beast. But you've trained people from all over. Really, it seems like there's some average Joes as well, right? Not just celebrities and pro athletes.
Oh yeah, I've had all walks of life, all different jobs. Even lawyers don't hold that against me.
So how did you get into the fitness industry? Let's take a step back, like 30,000 foot view. Where did this journey even begin for you?
I was super active as a kid. I was a fat kid, fat and active. More calories in, and I wanted like a lot of young boys. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to look cool and be comfortable at the beach, and I just couldn't out train or out active my diet. That was it. Quantity, quality, timing. What was the transgression? The answer is yes. It was all of them. And as I learned more, I was able to control it. When I controlled it, I wanted to share that, and I would talk to people. Let's work out. Hey, you want to work out? Where do you work out? Do you work out? And it just became a thing. And then somebody asked me to train them one day, and I did. And I didn't know that they didn't want to be a training partner. They wanted me to train them, and I sort of backed into it.
How old were you at that point?
Oh man, it was 30 years. I was 27.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. So that was the first training session.
Right,
first training session from Gunnar.
Yeah, it was. Well, I'd worked out with buddies for a while, and I was the one who did most of the reading and let's make it sound professional. The research, reading Muscle Fitness and Flex. I did most of the reading outside. So when I trained with buddies, I'd say, let's try this, let's do this. I saw this, we can add this, and so I wasn't training them, but I was bringing a lot of new stuff to the table.
Gotcha. And you did get a degree from Duke with something that has to do with exercise and nutrition, right?
Not at all.
Not at all?
I was a language major at Duke.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I graduated. That was it. I wanted to get the degree. So I got
from Duke as well, right?
Yeah, I got my degree from Duke, and but I'm certified I was certified 1,000 years ago through ACE, American Council on Exercise, and I'm certified through the NSCA, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, out of Colorado, which, highest governing body. To work in the NBA, you have to have that cert, the CSCS, which is Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. You have to have that cert to train in the league. And to me, look, I know a lot of trainers who don't have that certification who are great trainers. Yeah. And I know some who do have it who I don't think are that good, or they don't come across that good in my observation. The cert just means you took the time, you took it seriously enough, you bothered to do enough homework, to study enough, to learn enough, and then regurgitate it on a certain test date, and then that you've also bothered maintaining the certification through continuing education courses. It doesn't make you a good trainer. Yeah. But I'd rather have a guy who went to medical school operating on me than a guy who just read a bunch of medical journals.
And that's the thing with the CSCS too. I wish they almost required some type of hours or volunteer hours or something where that person has that hands-on experience
as a strength coach.
As a strength coach.
Yeah, they don't, because I know some PTs who have it, and I go, okay, you have that, but you're not a strength coach. You're still a PT who has this cert. It doesn't mean you know how to. It means, I mean, maybe you know how to put together a program to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, but I don't think that necessarily means that if somebody wants to alter their body comp or improve their athletic performance, that you're necessarily the person to go to, even though you have the same certification that I have.
You're 100% right. All that means is you have the knowledge base to pass the test. That's literally all it means. You put in the work to pass that didactic.
Well, that's all it means for some people.
Yeah.
But for me, it's that plus the hundreds of thousands of man hours working one-on-one with people.
That's it, yeah. But your threshold to learning is higher because you've taken that test, and so you're starting at a higher point, where if you didn't have that knowledge base at all, you're starting from a lower point. You can't get to that higher point,
right.
But at least that test helped you out. Because I have the CSCS as well, and I talk to strength coaches all the time about how, I don't try to go into your territory in terms of pure strength and conditioning. I get the person, when I work with athletes, I'll get the person doing prehab exercises, some manual work, maybe get them to fix a little bit of this ache that they may have, but then we collaborate with strength coaches on what they're doing and then find the best plan of care. Is that kind of how it works?
Well, you hope that works like that. and that should work in reverse as well, right? I get someone who comes in, we're training, we're doing something, and they have an ache, a pain, whatever, and I may help. I do a stretch. I do a stretch, mostly posterior chain, with people post-workout, and I use the Theragun. I'm a fan of the Theragun.
I love that thing.
Me too. And I can work it on someone, or I can give it to them to work. But when it gets more, it's the same as nutrition. Also, by the way, I'm happy to give you broad strokes, nutrition concepts, ideas. But if you're going to get really serious about nutrition, I'm going to send you to somebody. They're going to look at your blood, and they're going to base the plan on who you are as an individual. Right. Same as the injury. I'm going to send them to you. I'm going to send them to somebody who does that.
Yeah.
Not 100%. Me. I'm not here to fix your injury. It's not what I do.
Yeah. How much is that a collaboration with people here when you have most of your clients? Do you crosstalk with other professions much?
All the time.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, I'm wide open to that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be in those other lanes. I'm not the trainer who, I also do your diet. I also give you a massage. That's just not me. I mean, and I know trainers who do that. I know trainers who do massage on the side. I know trainers who do nutrition programs and charge for them. That's not me.
Yeah. No, got you.
Yeah, I'm a one-trick pony.
How about when you're since you've been with the Lakers for this is the third year now. This year's looking really, really good, which is exciting.
But the winning's a lot more fun.
The winning's a lot more fun.
It's a lot more fun to win.
Oh, of course, always. So with when you're with the Lakers, how is the dynamic there in terms of, I know you're the head strength coach there, correct? And then there are a few other strength coaches that are there as well. And so how does that...
the strength department, we're a staff of 3.
Gotcha.
Great guys, terrific guys, Chatton Hill and Ed Strite. We were very lucky to be able to add them to the staff, and they're, both vetted and have been with other teams, and we're just very lucky to have them. And it's great the way we work down there. Sort of guys gravitate towards certain guys, but there's also an interchangeability that is, there are no egos, and that's on the player side as well as the staff side. So it makes it easy. We have a terrific vibe in that weight room right now. Terrific. Yeah.
How does it work with like traveling and doing strength and conditioning?
We all travel.
All 3 of you guys every
all
game.
Travel. Guys lift on the road. They activate pregame. Yeah.
Gotcha. Sometimes even post-game, it looks like.
Yes, post-game. Post-game, there are certain guys who get after it regularly, and there are others who do it occasionally. But the buy-in seems to be good right now. Let's hope that lasts. And we have a great group of guys on staff, on court, upstairs. It's very well put together. It's been manipulated in a way that it really makes it fun down there.
Curious with because I've seen some of those videos post game workouts, which is crazy to me. 10:30 p.m. I guess everyone's sleep schedule is different.
Crazy to you. How about me? I get up at 3:45. Yeah, the 10:30 I go, here we go.
Oh man! So it's kind of basically the way it's set up is a player wants to work out. You collaborate with them. Okay, let's put together a workout after the game.
No, I've prepped it.
Oh, you prepped it already.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what they've done. Some guys, they may do a core activation pre-game or even at shoot around that morning, and then during the game either they don't play enough minutes or they're feeling great and they're high energy and they're pumped and they want to add something, or if we know we're going into a day off, right, a lockout day, then it's like, let's knock this out because tomorrow, that way you can really shut it down and feel good about that.
Interesting. So they'll know if they want to work out afterwards, more or less, depending on how many minutes they get, and
Some
you'll
guys.
that. Yeah.
Some guys it's more spontaneous.
Yeah.
Some guys it's more, you might suggest it,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll come get it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no shortage of hard workers on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's this year's looking amazing. I'm a huge Laker fan as well, so this is looking pretty good. And then in terms of on the road, is there gyms at facilities, or how does that work? Is it at the hotels that you stay at?
Yeah, the answer is yes to all that. The hotels have gyms. Sometimes we go off-site, but your free time is pretty scarce when you're on the road. And
Sure.
It's film sessions, meetings, meals. Then they try to shut it down, to nap in the afternoon, pre-game, shooter. I mean, there's a lot of stuff pulling on their schedule. So if we can go over to the facility or to the arena for a shoot around, we might get the lift pre or post that. And if not, you'll come back to the hotel and get it then. And if not, you'll get it at the arena before. And if it's a down day on the road, you'll get it where you can, right? And it may be at the hotel. And sometimes I know gyms in cities. I know a lot of people around, and I'll say, hey, can I bring a guy in? And we'll do it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you'll know ahead of time.
We also have our strength cart with us. We have a trunk that has everything from a SWAT mine where you can use the landmine anywhere. Yeah. We have the Sornex ab rollout with us. We have power blocks with us. We have all the bands. We have the WAF and AirX pads. So it can get pretty comprehensive real quick. I mean,
who's carrying all that stuff?
It's in a big trunk.
Yeah.
Everybody has trunks, but we have the strength and conditioning trunk, Laker Strength that says on the side, and the hallway can be your friend. You'd be surprised at how much stuff you can get done at a narrow hallway in a short amount of time. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So during season, do you have a different approach? Obviously, it depends on when the next game would be versus and you're with them year round, right? In the off season as well. So in season, generally you're focusing, it sounds like, less on heavy loading and
we all have different approaches.
Yeah.
Within the strength department, which is great, and as well as each guy has a different thing, right? Like if it's a guy who's not playing a lot now, it doesn't mean he won't be playing a lot later in the year. That's just the way it goes. I do a lot of stuff with concentric movements, just to reduce, I should say, the soreness and the microscopic tears, so that guys can still get the feeling of the lift. They're still bringing oxygen and nutrients to the muscles. They're still
doing
getting
work,
all that, but there's less tear down. There's less breakdown overall, and so I'm a fan of that. I changed the rep schemes a bit. I don't do a ton of stuff to failure. It's just not what I think is going to serve them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
In season.
Do you ever use BFR in season?
That would be more on the athletic training side. I have it here at my gym, and I've used it. I know it's used in a rehabilitative state, but that's more for those guys to talk about. Yeah. Gotcha.
So higher reps, not till failure in season.
Sometimes even lower reps, like activation. It might be trap bar deads, 6 reps.
Yeah.
Plyo pull up, 6 reps. Plyo push up, 6. Just to fire up the central nervous system, to get everything going, to get them ready. I had guys last night pre-game doing like a free fall push up on a stability ball, right? You're on the ball, arms extended, let the arms go, take the hit on the chest, because to me that simulates what you'll feel when you're driving the lane, and then catch it up, lock it out.
Yeah.
And it's that push up versus just standard push ups.
Basketball is way more of a contact sport than people think.
So funny, people. I can remember even playing basketball, which is not a pretty sight, as a kid, and it was a non-contact sport. I remember the coach saying that.
Yeah.
And if you look at it now, it is very much a contact sport.
Yeah.
And by the way, they don't have the pads.
Yeah. You don't ever throw up a few shots before the game?
Never. You don't want to see me shoot a basketball.
Not a good sight.
No.
That's pretty good. How do you manage all this stuff that you have going on? Is there like, obviously there's not one secret, but is there like a specific approach that you take with your calendar settings, with making sure that you split up time here versus?
Well, yeah, Lakers comes first.
Yeah.
It has to, and it's the schedule's locked in, so we know what time we have to be where, and then it's what you do in your downtime.
Yeah.
And I'm at a different stage, at a different age than some of the people on the staff, and even other strength coaches. So I try to budget it in a way that I get the most out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I short my sleep, but that's a conscious decision.
Yeah.
So I work on that. That's always the one. How can I get more? Where can I sneak that?
I know we were just talking about that before, but I'm sure with traveling, that's probably extremely difficult to stay consistent with.
To me, the traveling is easier.
Mm.
You get a little sleep on the plane, sure, the quality is reduced, and there are little gaps in the afternoon where you can catch a 30-minute nap or a 45-minute nap. And to me, that goes a long way when you're staying up to 11, 11:30, 12, or if you fly out post-game, that's a whole different demand on your body, and you're either getting home at 2 a.m. or you're getting where you're going at 2, 3, 4 a.m. It just changes. But look, there are a lot hotter hells than this. A lot of people with a lot, oh, I'm sorry that flying on the plane was difficult. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's way harder for the athletes who have to perform at a certain level physically in competition versus we have to perform, but it's not.
More mental.
Yeah, it's not. And look, anybody, you got to take a long look in the mirror and go, is my life that hard? And no, it's not. It's conscious decisions of how hard you want to push yourself. What do you want out of this? And I mean, I say to my wife, the only reason we have any stress is because we have ambition. Because
self-inflicted, yeah. 100%.
It is all self-inflicted. There are things I want. There are material things I want. There are things I want to finish. There are calls I want to make. There are emails I want to return. There are fitness concepts I want to test and see through. There are a lot of things I want to do. That's on me. If I were comfortable just kicking back and watching TV shows or this, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. If that's what I wanted to do, I could do that, but I want to do these other things more. So
I know.
It's completely self-inflicted.
I completely agree. I will sometimes even think to myself, if I did none of this, would things still be okay? Yeah, things will still be okay. Will I not get to where I want to be? No. But
things wouldn't be okay because in your head, this is what you need to do to be okay.
Right. That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to buy that car. I want to take my family on this trip. I want to pay for my son to have these lessons in addition to, those kinds of things. I want to give to, I donate to the NSCAA. I donate to certain things.
Nice.
I want to do that, and you push yourself. I have a brother who's a very successful business person. He wants certain things out of life. He makes certain changes in the world, and he works for that. So,
what's one of the biggest things you've learned from him in terms of getting from point A to point B?
Man, I learned from my brother. He's my little brother. He's
my little brother.
He's my little big brother, right? He's bigger physically than I am, but he's also just a life force. And I learn from him every day. You can make me cry on this podcast. I learn from him every day. I learn from his generosity, his philanthropy, his respect and love for family, all the things he does and gives back, and you just go, that's the kind of guy you want to be. Like, you look at that, and whatever you're doing, you go, okay, it's good I'm doing this. Give yourself credit for what you're doing, but realize you could be doing more.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Do you ever, going back to the sleep idea and taking care of your own health, do you ever track your sleep with anything specifically?
I do. I use Sleep Score.
Sleep Score.
I've used other things in the past. Some of them gave me anxiety, right? Like I'd wake up and it would say, you slept 4 hours and 17 minutes, and of that, only 42 minutes were deep sleep. And I go, I'm waking. It's like it's like waking up with an F, right? Like, damn, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Should I do nothing today?
Right, I failed.
Yeah.
I failed. I'm not even out of bed, and I failed.
Well, it kind of goes against what we were saying before, because if you know you have to do these things today, and then mentally you know you shouldn't be based on this score, well, am I supposed to? And then it starts messing with your own head, when in reality you're going to get things done regardless if you need to get to where you want to get to. And so I use both the Whoop and the Oura Ring, actually, just out of curiosity to see what correlations I find with what gets me a higher sleep score versus not as high of a sleep score. And it's interesting. I'm learning from it.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it
for
is,
sure you learn from it, but then you have to, but it's also like, it's not unlike weighing yourself, right? And I go through periods where I weigh myself every day, and then I go through periods where I don't weigh myself for 6, 8, 10 months. And then I'm, what's the better judge? How I feel, how I look, how I look, how I feel. Like, what order are you going to put that in versus what an inanimate object tells me, right? If I have a number that's X that I'm trying to get to, but I get on the scale and it says X, and I look in the mirror and I don't like what I see, should I be cool with X?
Right.
Or if I know a number, say Y, is where I really should not be, and that's where I am my worst, and I look in the mirror and I look fantastic and I feel terrific, and I get on the scale, the inanimate object, and it says Y, should I allow that to shift my mood now? And you know what I mean?
Really good point. That's why at day one, and I'm sure you do this too, is you have to find what the client wants out of this entire thing that we're doing. Is this 6-8 week program that we're going to build out for you, is this to make you look a certain way? Is this to make you feel a certain way? What's the goal?
But also, are people going to be honest enough? And people even know?
That's the
do they
awareness
know,
aspect,
right?
Yeah.
You know, I've had one or two people, one in particular, who said to me once, if I could look this way all the time without training, I would, and I'd give 5 years off the end of my life. And I go, it's an incredibly honest statement in the moment, right?
Yeah.
When that check comes due, she might not feel that way. Wait, I traded what?
Yeah.
But other people, if you can find a way to fall in love with the process, right? The training itself, the working out itself, the food choices themselves, that's a lot more fulfilling than just being in love with where those get you, because that's fleeting versus right. If it's whatever it is, if it's for a wedding, for a prom, for a family reunion, for a vacation on a beach, whatever that your end goal is, and none are more or less important than others, that time is so short-lived versus the time spent getting to that time. You should be able to flip it and have the feeling of, yay, I feel great during the whole training part, and then just take for granted the rest.
It's funny because I have that same idea when I travel. It's the 6 months that I'm anticipating that vacation that makes me happier oftentimes than that 5 or 7 days that I'm actually away. So it keeps me in that positive mindset. But same idea here, and I think that the big piece that I'm getting from this is awareness, that people need to understand what really they're training for. And with training, it's interesting because...
Or even if you don't understand it, I'm not putting that on you before we start. Look, you need to make those decisions before we embark on this. I would never do that. But I would say, please try to stay open to it so that if it does hit you, and you may not know, right? Not everybody's ready to declare their major when they get to college.
No.
So you may not know, what do I want to be when I grow up? What do I want to look like when I get to wherever I get to in my training? You may not know that until you get there.
Yeah.
So I would say shoot for, if there's something unreasonable, shoot for that. I don't want to get too big. First of all, relax. You're not going to get that big. Second of all, even if you do, it doesn't happen overnight, so you can pump the brakes at any time. Third of all, if you get there and you don't like it, relax for a week. It's going to go away.
Yeah.
Not that you'll atrophy down to where you started, but it's easy to make those changes in the body.
Yeah, very easy. And that's the thing that I actually really like about the idea of working out and changing your physical aesthetics, is that it happens relatively quickly. It's not like business where sometimes you have to wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years and then maybe you'll see a change, maybe you won't in your bank account. But with physical fitness, it's something that you invest and you learn the concept of pushing yourself and going through hard work and seeing a return pretty soon thereafter, which is a pretty...
If you're making the right choices outside of the physical exertion, right? So 24 hours in a day, 168 in a week. If you're spending 3, 5, 6, 7 of those training, what are you doing for the other 165, 162?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you can't out-train a bad diet. You can't out-train a bad lifestyle.
No.
So if you're just doing the training, you're going, well, I'm not seeing anything happen. I'm going to stop looking at training and look at the other hours. But if you're making the right choices outside, and it doesn't mean every single thing is perfect, weighing your food, measuring your sleep, but it means you're conscious of, the pillars, right? Cardiovascular work, strength work, food, hydration, supplement, stress management, recovery, whether that's getting a massage, whether that's getting sleep, whether that's using a Theragun, using Normatec, whatever it is, cryo, whatever if you're conscious about all those, and you don't have to be OCD and all systematic with each one. Monday I do this too. It doesn't have to be that, but it has to be you're aware and you're open and you find ways to build all that in.
Yeah.
Then you see changes quickly.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's why, again, going back to these things, is that it takes all those factors into consideration looking at heart rate variability.
Right.
And so I'll even use the watch too. And, it's not a hard science. Yeah, it's still a relatively newer idea. But this heart rate variability thing, I think, has huge potential to track a lot of those things in an objective way, where previously we weren't really able to measure stress management much. I mean, some people may say subjectively they're not stressed, but internally they're freaking out, but they don't even realize it.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's like one of those things that it's hard to objectify.
You may manage it better.
Yeah.
But you still have those external factors that are creating stressful situations on your body.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to just be how to pay your bills. It can be how you're going to get out of work to pick up your kid, or it can be how you're going to get from this meeting to the next meeting, or from one class to another class if you have to stay and talk to the professor after the class.
Yeah.
There are a lot of little things that weigh in. You find yourself doing it in traffic, and you go, wait a minute, I don't have to get over in that right lane just yet. I don't need to start panicking and release this death grip on the steering wheel.
Especially in LA here, yeah.
Oh, man.
It's unbelievable. But it's nice that you have parking here, though. That was pretty helpful.
That was a big reason I chose this building when I looked for a place to hang my shingle was is there off-street parking?
It's not even a joke. That's serious. Yeah.
There are places in LA that you go, and for people who hear this who aren't from here, and I'm sure other places, but this is it sticks out here. And if you go there a couple times and you can't park, or you're circling to park, or the spaces are super tight and you just go, I'm not going here again.
No.
And I don't care if it's your grocery store, I don't care if it's your chiropractor, your trainer, you just go, I'm not going here anymore, and you find another place.
Yeah, it's part of the experience.
For sure.
I mean, that's what you're doing here is you're creating an experience that's going to give that person.
And it starts when they pull in, not when they start working out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, same thing with PT. That's why the front desk is the most undervalued asset to the clinic, is because they're greeting the patient initially. Same idea here. The first thing they're doing is getting in and parking and then walking up to the facility.
Yep.
Very important. Curious, with most of the clients that come in here, is it more of an aesthetic goal that people usually have, or more of a functional goal?
I think that's a question you'd have to ask each person.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, de rigueur. I don't think it's cool to say, I want to train to look a certain way. It sounds so self-indulgent and narcissistic. I think people now, at least, this is one of the changes since I've been in this industry, you see, they're not so forthcoming with that, right? Back in the day, it was, I want to look like this, I want to change like this,
Put
I want
a picture right down.
my arms like this, my abs like this, my ass like this, right? It was AAA. Now it's more, I want to feel better, I want to look better, I want to perform better, I want to be able to do this and this in my life, I want to raise my energy levels. It comes out of that. I don't think anybody is opposed to, and maybe they're just not being straight with it, maybe they haven't even come to terms with themselves. I don't think anybody is opposed to looking better, right? We're a very visual society. You can't drive down the street without seeing a billboard or a bus, or it's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So many things are marketed with the attachment of a well-created physique.
Right.
Often trying to pass that physique off as, what? I just wake up like this. No, you don't. No, you don't.
That doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
Unless, maybe aside from a specific actor or actress that's trying to get ready for a specific role, it sounds like maybe that would be an example of someone coming in to let you know, hey, I want to look this way or a certain way.
But even that nowadays, take people who are doing action films. It's not even about, look, I have this scene. It used to be more about, I have a scene where I have to take my shirt off, whether it was a man or a woman, and I'm shooting that in 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it is. Now it's more, I'm doing this and this in the scene. I need to be able to perform like this and move like this. It's much more about the movement than the muscle.
Gotcha.
And I also believe in training like that and have for a long time. Train the movement, don't train the muscle.
I love that idea. I know, and that's why sometimes even within the PT world, we try to isolate things a little bit too much, and it's not really how the body ends up moving. And I think that's why a lot of the shift is starting to become exactly like you're saying, where we'll do muscle tests within movements. It's not like an isolated quad MMT or manual muscle test. We're starting to train and test these positions that require multiple movements, because that's how an athlete, a person, is going to move on a day-to-day basis.
And it's very rare, if at all, and as a PT you can speak to this better than I can, nothing works in isolation.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Even you go back to single joint, simple movement that everybody can visualize. Even on a biceps curl, it's not just happening on its own. There are synergists firing. There is a core stabilization that occurs before you begin that curl. So it's all kicking in. So to try and just isolate it, I understand the concept, and I've been guilty of it myself. But I know, really, you still have to train all those synergists.
Yeah. I mean, even your example of the bicep, if you're not going to stabilize the scapula and you're going to do some elbow flexion without keeping your shoulder blade stable, you're going to create some anterior tipping of the scapula, stressing the anterior shoulder a little bit. So you got to at least stabilize what it's moving on top of.
And some of the guys who are throwing the big hip thrust into the curl, you're getting a lot you're recruiting from the erectors, from the glutes.
It's all momentum.
It's become a full body movement there, sir.
Yeah, no, exactly. And same thing with even low back too. A lot of people started focusing on TA and just focus on hollowing, get that transverse abdominis activation. Now the research is starting to say, hey, just overall, let's get all of those core muscles to work synergistically. The rectus, the TA, the obliques, that will be the best bang for your buck, while there's also room for TA activation at times as well.
Of course, and people, we don't do crunches anymore. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's going to make it tough for you to get out of bed. There's more to abs than just crunches, right?
Yeah.
Crunches, reverse crunches, planks, oblique work, horizontal. There's a great piece. There's a great tool out there. It's called the Stealth Core Plankster. It's a great piece. Have you seen this?
No,
I'll show you. And it comes with a little video game, so mentally you engage on a different level. And it's a dynamic plank. You're in a plank on this delta-shaped board, and you're tipping, and it works in all different directions. And it's guiding you to do that. But what you stop thinking about somewhere into the video game part of it is you're holding a plank position for as long as you program the game for. And so you are working right with anterior tilt, posterior tilt, side to side work, your frontal plane, your flexion, your extension, and you go, wow, that's pretty comprehensive work.
Yeah.
It's a fun little piece.
I mean, you have everything I could imagine here.
I'm a hoarder. Let's just say it, man.
I don't even know the color of the wall here. There's just so much everything.
I had somebody say to me, "What do you have against white walls?" I go, "What do you mean?" They go, "Every inch of your wall is covered." I go,
"It's covered."
It's more entertaining. I don't know. It's distraction. It's bells and whistles. We're still getting the work done.
Absolutely, and you have the space for it too. I mean, this second floor is relatively new, right?
Yeah.
It used to be just downstairs area. How did you get everything to be yellow and black? Was that custom made? Or?
Yeah, I do a lot of custom stuff. I had a great guy who did a lot of custom. He did a lot of modifications on a lot of the pieces that I did. Just cut this off, break this. Can you bend this? Can you add this handle? And then, hey, while you're at it, do you do powder coating? He goes, yeah, sure. And
Can we just do it to all of this stuff?
Yeah, I just like it all to be homogeneous like that. We'll do another gym down the line, much bigger, and I know one side is going to be red, white, and blue. I'm going to combine what's downstairs, and one side is going to be black and yellow, and then I'll have a turf field in the middle.
How'd you get black and yellow in the first place? Where did that come from?
I had a gym before, and it was black and red, and when I did this one, I wanted this to be a complete departure from the other, and I wanted it to be its own thing.
Yeah, interesting. It looks good. It's amazing. Aside from, I think the only thing is maybe the Captain America plates that may not be.
No, that's that whole downstairs. If you look at that, It's all red, white, and blue. There are American flags down there. There's some other plates by XD. They're the Captain America plates by On It. Then I have some American flag plates by XD, which are terrific. And I hired an artist, a guy named Three Sheets, which, by the way, great name, and he does great work. He did some custom painting on my center mass bells by Sorinex and made them American flag. So, and he did my kettlebells, my On It kettlebells, and my zoo bells. He did them all American flag and characters. Yeah, they're pretty
I'll have
cool.
to check it out. I usually just zoom right upstairs.
No,
I haven't
they're
checked
pretty
out downstairs.
fun. They're fun. Look, it's just, if it's a way to distract people so they get more work done, I'm all for it.
Love it. So we'll wrap this up with one piece of advice that you would recommend to our following. I'd like for it to something be about or revolve around benefit from.
Yeah, start lifting weights.
Or start somewhere.
Start lifting weights. But people, the whole thing of I'm gonna really get my cardio under control and drop a little weight before I start lifting. That's like cleaning the house before your once a week housekeeper comes by. You don't do that good of a job. It's kind of annoying to the housekeeper, and it's just not that effective.
I love that.
Just come on.
Yeah.
Get it done. And by the way, when you start lifting weights, that body fat that you're talking about eliminating through your magic cardio program is going to go at a much faster rate.
100%.
You have to, in my opinion, just my opinion, you have to load the body. You have to. And if you load the body in exercise, right, exterior load, and I don't care what form it is, I don't care if it's barbells, dumbbells, kettlebells, pneumatic, water bags, I don't care. Load the body. When you're done loading the body and you go about your life, to me, I don't know why, it's very logical. Everything you do is going to be easier.
When you're
Everything you do.
There's even research to show when you're a stronger human being, you're harder to die. It's harder for you to die. Right. Your lifespan is longer.
Well, there's another one that shows, not to out-research you, there's another study, I just saw this a couple weeks ago, and it said lower extremity strength in men was directly linked to longevity.
Yeah.
So I thought, if you do nothing, do some squats, do some leg presses, do some lunges, do some deadlifts.
Yeah. There you go.
It's linked to longevity. What do you not need? What else do you need to know?
Yeah. Would you say roughly? It depends on how much volume you do. 2 to 3 times a week, or just anything is beneficial at this.
Did you ever read a book called Squat Every Day?
I did not. Who is that by?
Perryman is the author's last name. How do you like that? Look at that. And you see, they can't see, but I am sitting here with nothing. This is off the top of my head. It's a terrific book. It's called Squat Every Day.
Squat Every Day. Huh.
And there are some great studies in it, and there's some things that make you go, okay, maybe you don't have to load a bar, axial load a bar every day and start squatting. Don't take it at that and go, I'm not doing that. Read into it, and you go, wow, I can do more. Even if you just come away with, I can do more than I'm doing, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I do lower body stuff every day. I do full body every day, but I don't do it to the point of, I don't train to failure really, and I don't do a ton of volume.
How long are your workouts typically?
So I do 30 to 45 to 60 minutes cardio, 10 to 15 minutes stretch, and then 30 to 45 to 60 minutes weights, and I try to match it. So if I have an hour, I'm going to probably do 30 and then cheat 10 minutes on a stretch. If I have, say my wife's out of town and I get to go to the gym in the morning early on a Sunday, I may take a full 2 hours because somewhere during the week I know I'm only going to have 40 minutes. So I think it all comes out in the wash. Long term, there's balance, and I'll take it when I can get it. Right? It's like I don't schedule the off days because the off days will find me. Yeah. And I just told that to one of the guys who I work with at the Lakers, and he said, one of the guys on staff, and he goes, that's funny because I always schedule my off days, and I go, but I bet you take another day off. He goes, it always happens. It always happens that I go, I can't train today. And I go, I know, but you had the Sunday off, didn't you? And he goes, I know. So that will prove itself true to you at some point.
Yeah. No, I love that.
It's gonna find you. It's gonna be, you forget you're going on your vacation and you train up until whatever, and you're gonna take the day before off so you can pack and make sure all your things are in order, and then you have a 7 a.m. flight, and you go, I can't make it to the work. So then now all of a sudden that became 2 days off, and you arrive on your vacation not feeling the way you want to feel.
Yeah.
And that's just my thing. Look, that's for me. That's my inner fat kid talking, right? I was a fat kid, so that's I'm always terrified of going back to whatever motivates you. But
Yeah.
so I do schedule. I don't really schedule off days, but I can see them coming.
The off days find me more often than not. Let's just say that.
They have to. They do. It's just the way. How many times does your phone go off a day at night? There are things pulling at you that you can't anticipate. There are phone calls you have to make. There are emails you have to return. Yeah, they're going to find you.
Life gets busy.
If you can sneak in a workout, if you can knock one out now, knock it out.
Yeah. Key here, though, is listen up, everyone. Lift weights, lunges, squats, whatever it is. Put load on your body, however. Gunnar, where can people find you? I know you have Instagram.
I have Gunnar Fitness on Instagram. And
Your
Gunnar
website
Peterson.
too, right?
Yeah, my website's GunnarPeterson.com. I'm not selling much, and there's T-shirts and stuff that are fun and some little tools for workout, but I don't do programs and all that. I'm too in the moment. Is that a thing? I guess I'm too back to back with people, and I like what I do, so I'm not trying to pull off of that to do other stuff.
There you go. Thanks again, Gunnar.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time. I learned a lot from this.
I tell you guys do terrific stuff. We pull things off of your Instagram all the time. I send them to trainers, strength coaches, guys that I know, and they're like, "How do you know these guys?" I go, "Dude, I'm in the right city, man. These guys are putting out great content on a regular basis. It's nice to see."
We're in the right city. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. Thanks again, Gunnar.
Hope you guys enjoyed this one and you take Gunnar's recommendation to heart of lifting weights. Everyone should be performing some resistance training exercises to some degree. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe. This helps us in getting the word out with our podcast. And if there's anything else that you guys want us to discuss, feel free to send us an email, info@theprehabguys.com. All right, thanks for listening up, guys.